I first noticed something was off when my cat, who usually napped on the roof every afternoon like it was his sacred ritual, stopped going up there. He'd sprawl out in the sun like a lazy king, occasionally hissing at crows with the swagger of a feline overlord. But suddenly, he'd just sit at the bottom of the ladder, staring upward as if some intruder had claimed his throne. That was my first clue. The second came when I spotted a tangle of unfamiliar wires trailing down the back gutter like some kind of tech-infested VYNE. With a flashlight and a growing itch of curiosity, I traced them to a metal box about the size of a shoebox bolted right into my roof tiles. 3 tiny antennas poked out like bug legs and blinking blue lights pulsed like a sci-fi heartbeat. I hadn't put it there. I hadn't signed off on it. So I knocked on my neighbor's door to ask if they'd seen anything like it. They just shrugged and said, "Oh, that's the HOA's new Wi-Fi thing. Didn't they tell you?" No. No, they hadn't. Turns out, the HOA had quietly greenlit a deal with some startup NetPulse Solutions, or something equally Silicon Valley-sounding to slap Wi-Fi repeaters on select homes for community signal enhancement. Sounds harmless, right? Until you realize they were tapping my electricity, broadcasting from my roof, and using my setup without so much as a heads-up. Not even one of those snarky flyers they usually plaster on my door about grass length or trash can placement. So I did what any sane person would do. I showed up at the next HOA meeting, laptop in tow, receipts ready. I wasn't there to brawl, I just wanted answers. Who okayed this? Did they get homeowner consent? Was that box sucking my power? The room got tense fast. Linda, the HOA YC president, yes, that's her real name, looked at me like I just insulted her prized poodle. She loved that title more than most people love their kids. "This is for the community's benefit," she huffed, clutching her rhinestone-studded tablet. "You agreed to tech upgrades when you bought your house." Nope. I checked my contract that night. Nothing about random gadgets on my roof. No fine print about power theft. Nada. Digging deeper, I hit pay dirt. NetPulse Solutions was a 2-year-old outfit tied to a P.O. box co-founded by Linda's nephew, Braden, with an E naturally. This wasn't about wife, it was a family hustle dressed up as a neighborhood perk. My house got picked because I had solar panels, meaning the power drain wouldn't show up on my bill. Clever if I hadn't caught on. But I did. The next day, I ran a power audit with the smart meter I'd installed to bust my kids for Leah VYing the PlayStation on. Now it was my EVY Denke jackpot. The data showed a steady 2.1 kilowatt-hour draw daily right where that repeater sat. That's over 60 kilowatt-hours a month, not huge, but theft all the same, especially since my solar credits were footing the bill for Linda's community dream. When I emailed the HOA my findings, charts, receipts, even a thermal pic of the box glowing at midnight, they didn't apologize. They fined me. Apparently, I'd VYOLAT some rule by tampering with their tech. The tech they stuck on my roof without asking. The nerve. That's when I decided this wasn't just about exposing them, I'd profit from it. Their mistake gave me a legal opening I could ram a blazing Wi-Fi truck through. I ditched my old ISP, signed up for a small business plan with monitoring tools, and rerouted their repeater through my new Serve YC. Now every byte of HOA bandwidth flowing from my roof was tracked and billed. I wasn't petty, I was meticulous. Within a week, I had logs showing 500 song gigabytes of community data, Zoom calls, Linda's niche streaming trash TV at 2a.m.it was all there. With a business plan, every gig had a price. I whipped up an invoice, unapproved infrastructure usage, and dropped it in the HOA mailbox with a gold envelope, a ribbon, and a note. Community support isn't free. 2 days later, an orange violation notice was taped to my door like a suburban scarlet letter, unapproved structural modification. It cited a fake Rule 13.7b, obstruction of HOA equipment, that didn't exist the week before. I called the HOA and got Mark, the jittery secretary, who mumbled, "Linda says you messed with our gear. There's a roof inspection coming. Oh, and you're on probation." Probation for billing them? That weekend, Linda strutted onto my lawn in a blinding teal blazer, flanked by a contractor who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. "We're here for an integrity check," she chirped, loud enough for the neighbors to hear. "Reports of unstable modifications to HOA infrastructure." I grabbed my camera. "You're not filming," she snapped. "Actually," I said, "this is my property and you're inspecting your unapproved tech." "Say cheese." The contractor snickered, "Big mistake." Linda glared at him. "You're licensed, right? We can't have another patio fiasco." His face went white. A quick search later revealed this guy had 3 BBB complaints, a yank permit, and a local news bit called Porch Collapse Chaos. He built fences, not roofs. Still, they climbed up. I watched from a lawn chair with a lemonade, smirking as he fumbled around, yelling, this box is wobbly. And there's a structural wear. Linda scribbled like she was scripting a MOE. We'll issue a citation, she declared, and a temporary tech ban until you prove your equipment's safe. A tech ban? I asked. She grinned. No internet tweaks until we say so. It's for network stability. Straight out of a dystopian playbook. But this wasn't just about Wi-Fi Anna Marie, it was about teaching me a lesson before others caught on. Too late. My inbox was buzzing. What's with the Wi-Fi? Are they charging you for their junk? Can you show me how to bill them? One came from Ellen, 3 houses down, ex-HOA treasurer and Linda's sworn enemy. A rebellion was brewing. Linda doubled down, posting a Facebook rant. A warning on cyber misconduct. She claimed one resident, guess who, was sabotaging Vital Servois and might face disconnection. No names, but the shade was nuclear. She even admitted my repeater was the strongest in the system, meaning she'd leaned on it too. I sent the post to my lawyer, Miguel, who lives for loopholes, grudge mail, and peppermint tea. She's admitting it's on your roof, using your power, and routing her data through you, he texted. Cease and desist? Make it zesty, I said. So he dyed a 3-page gem dripping with trespass by proxy and energy theft liability, demanding the repeater's removal in 10 days or small claims court. Linda's counter? An emergency meeting to amend the rules allowing rooftop tech without notice. Tailor-made for me. But it flopped 3 yes, 28 no. People don't like surprise gadgets on their shingles, especially when Ellen handed out power stats in lawsuit drafts with the cookies. An old guy with a cane sealed it. Ask before sticking alien tech on our roofs, Linda. The room erupted in applause. You'd think she'd quit, but Linda wasn't built for retreat. She rebranded the mess as a pilot program. NetPulse Phase 1. Community Tech Harmony. Flyers popped up, touting Wi-Fi harmonizers, with her grinning next to a repeater like it was her baby. No mention of consent or power drain. She claimed a licensed auditor backed her up. Enter Tim, a PhD student in a Hawaiian shirt who volunteered after seeing the Facebook drama. This sounds fun, he said, unpacking gear like a tech ninja. Within minutes, he gasped, this isn't just rerouting, it's logging metadata. MAC addresses, usage, timestamps. Illegal and dumb, he added. I showed him my invoice. You billed by the gig? Genius. He traced the data. Turns out, Linda had made NetPulse the HOA's mandatory Pro VY 6 months back, and my repeater was the backbone. I emailed Tim's report to the HOA list with a dumpster fire gif. Chaos ensued. She's logging us? My kid's Zoom went through his house? Ellen tagged the city tech rep. Privacy laws, anyone? Next day, Paul from the city's tech compliance team showed up. All business with a digital infrastructure oversight card. He spent 45 minutes on my roof, asking sharp questions and taking grim notes. Off the record, he said, this stinks of corruption wrapped in Wi-Fi. Linda watched from her window, nervous for once. 3 days later, a legal bomb landed under my door. Intent to sue for unauthorized bandwidth monetization. Linda claimed the bandwidth was community property, and I'd exploited it. I laughed so hard I spilled my coffee. Miguel called, cackling. She's suing you for charging her for her illegal tech? Our reply was a legal nuke. Trespass, privacy breaches, and a demand for all NetPulse records. Linda stonewalled huge mistake. That triggered a resident uprising. Ellen called an emergency meeting with 17 signatures, snacks, and packets titled, How Linda Hijacked Our Homes. Tim projected data on her garage door, showing 3 other secret repeaters. The crowd lost it. She put that on my roof during my trip. My VPN medical data went through that. When Braden's name popped up as NetPulse Chief VY Cyanary, the room exploded. Ellen rallied them. Class action, anyone? Linda's last stand of Facebook screed, Stop the Tech Panic, flopped hard. Then Channel 9 aired, HOA Wi-Fi War, Is Your Roof Hijacked? With a cheesy reenactment and Linda slamming her door. The fallout was instant. Complaints, yard signs, a thank you note from a quiet old man. Linda's empire was toast and she'd handed me the torch. But Linda wasn't done. When the heat peaked, she torched the UI files vanished from the Google Drive. Mark leaked backups to Ellen, showing Linda targeted my solar-powered roof and funneled $12,000 to Braden. The city's audit nailed her. 5 violations, including data harvesting and record tampering. At the next meeting she cracked, yelling, "I made your Wi-Fi better." Paul stood. "That's an admission. You're liable." She was stripped of power, escorted out, and left with nothing but a neck brace and a fine. Her final tantrum? She cut Netpulse servers, blacking out the HOA's Wi-Fi except mine. My repeater became the default hub, logging 1.2 terabytes in days. I invoiced Dula $4,239.88, sent it to their insurer, and cashed a settlement. Linda tried to uninstall the repeater herself, fell into my flower bed, and slunk off in defeat. Now I run CIVYC Signal, the HOA's unofficial ISP. We host Bandwidth Bash yearly, tossing routers and laughing at Linda's legacy. She's gone, stuck with a Dula 42,000 tab, and I'm the guy who turned her scheme into a neighborhood win. Moral? Don't mess with the rooftop Avenger with a lawyer and a data plan.